What is going on, everyone? Badger here. And there's a very interesting phenomenon going on right now with Charmin Obey Chinoy and Rachel Zegler, and that they both seem to be on parallel trajectories. They're both going down the same path. They both made a bunch of cringy comments a while ago when no one was really paying attention, and now it's coming to light. And everyone's wondering why they were hired in the first place, if they seemingly either don't like or don't know about what they were hired to do. And so now other people have made this connection, one of which being the amazing Call Me Chato, Paul Chato, former network executive. And there is a reason I react to him. It's the same reasons I react to the drinker, critical drinker, or Gary. They all have, we all may be talking and saying some of the same things, but the reason we're saying them and the knowledge that it comes from, very different for all of them. Paul, obviously, former network executive, knows what's going on. He's also from improv. He played a character called Mr. Canoe Head. That's the thumbnail, if you're wondering. Gary obviously owned a comic shop. A lot of his knowledge about comics and pop culture comes from actually reading the shit. Idiot drinker, published author, and filming his. He's got a Drake series, filming a live action version of this. So they all have knowledge. They're all saying very important things, even if they're different parts of the battlefield, right? And trust me, it is a battlefield. And there's not many of us left. So I'm not just staring at them, watching the content while I don't say anything. It's very important. Not everyone's a psychopath like me and can watch all of their content and get that through line and homogenize it into one core message with all the extremely important salient points, which is what Drinker is famously good at. Just get the bullet points of everything you really need to know. Here's Paul. Let's see what he has to say about the Star Wars director Charmin Ultra being worse than Zegler. The Zeg. It's Hollywood, baby.
Hello, denizens of the internet. So, there has been a firestorm over the announcement of Charmin Obaid Choi as Star Wars' first female director. I
And not the first female director, maybe the first theatrical female director, but Bryce Dallas Howard, Deborah Choi, former Harvey Weinstein personal assistant Leslie Headland. There have been female directors for Star Wars before.
commented briefly on it in this video from the perspective that Disney really needs to keep a tighter rein on the rookie talent to insist on digging the hole Disney is in deeper rather
Paul basically politely said that Disney need to keep them bitches in check.
than reaching out and trying to make peace with the existing fans.
Whoever's left on that battlefield I mentioned, because most are gone. They're gone in pieces. They're taken out in the the ambulance with pieces hanging off. They're gone. They're never coming back. Then there's others. They're in full apathy, destruction, 1,000-yard stare. That's me, right? That's me. I'm there sitting, kneeling down on the battlefield, looking, scanning across the battlefield with hope that there's any sign of life of a franchise. Oh God, look in that foxhole over there. There's Luke. And then you run over there and you pull off a bunch of dead legacy characters and the bad dads, and you look at there's Luke and then you try and rescue him. You can't because he's weighted down by green titty milk from Octo. And then the other people on the battlefield are those Disney fans, the new Disney sequel trilogy fans. And they got rainbow colored lightsabers. And they're walking around the battlefield and they're stabbing all the remaining apathetic fans. And you can't do anything. And Luke can't use the Force because he doesn't remember how. And he would OD from using the Force if he did. And that's the state of Star Wars right now.
I think enough has already been said about this topic, but God Almighty, I can't believe the insane pushback I've gotten.
And the only pushback I've gotten from talking about Charmin Ultra or anything Star Wars related is, bro, who cares about Star Wars?
The weakest excuses. Believe it or not, there are rabid fans of the Disney Star Wars trilogy. Yeah, who could believe that? As well as all the other garbage they've pushed out onto Disney Plus, like Ahsoka. Those of us on this side of the sanosphere know how rabid the Disney Star Wars apologists are. And when we wonder, how can Disney keep shoving one loser after another out their door? We only
Because as we've covered in other videos, and he knows this is a leading setup, but Disney has investment capitalists that push their woke ESG scores and keep them in business.
need to
And we also see that Bob Iger just got a couple more of them.
Look at this crowd. I'm not even sure you can call them fans. They're more like a posse of sycophants constantly buzzing around their favorite act, continuously telling them how great they are.
Dave Filoni, Kevin Feige.
Of course, any poor schmuck is going to want to believe their posse over the naysayers. Yeah. I remember
What they should believe is the box office. They should believe the box office and the lack of viewing numbers. We've been saying it for years.
when the Frantics were doing the stand-up circuit, and there was one really terrible comic, but because they were special and collected a certain type of fan, I recall one time when they
A certain type of fan.
just bombed horribly, and their posse was all over them in the green room, telling them how great they were and how bad the audience was. I think that's the service these gadflies perform for Disney, and especially
Oh, 100%, 100%. The people that fucking defend this shit, look, again, if, and I, with the grain of salt, because obviously I don't like attacking you, but if you're just like a normal person, you don't pay attention to the shit, you watch it and you found mild enjoyment of it, that's fine. That's fine. But the reason we get so upset is it's like you would like it if you let us do all the changes we want to make it watchable and something that we would call good and loyal to the character, you wouldn't just mildly enjoy it. You would think it was the best shit ever. And that's what happened with the beginning of all of these phases. They were at least trying to be accurate to the lore, and all the normies thought it was cool, and then it got taken over, and then you stopped caring about the source material and the legacy characters, and it's gone to shit. And now it's just, I liked it. I mildly enjoyed it. And it's like, but it could be so. It's fucking Pedro Pascal. Life is good, but it could be better. Lore is good, but it could be better.
for the Star Wars crew. We call this an echo chamber. I mean, look, but frankly, we are just as susceptible to our own echo chamber. So let's be real.
And you know, Paul, we are susceptible to our own echo chamber, but holy shit, is that chamber getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and people and times when you would have said, you know, MCU, and would have called you, you fucking just hate women, and now they see, you know, the 7th or 8th female-led Marvel that when once the normal people start seeing it, it's not really an echo chamber. It's just a genuine consensus of people.
I'm not willfully blind to that, but the excuses coming from these super fans of what I'm going to call Dark Wars, after I'm naming them after the Dark Ages,
And it's sure as fuck not George Lucas's Star Wars. As he said, he's completely divorced himself from it. Says they're not my movies.
is just plain silly. Let's start with this one from Jacob with a lowercase j and a period at the end. Dropping a casual, friendly reminder to everyone getting unnecessarily angry and upset over this quote, just because a franchise doesn't age with you or go in the direction that you particularly envision does not make it bad. No, Jacob, you dim bulb. I guarantee you, if Catherine Bigelow was announced as the director, there would be little to no complaints from us because she has directed a major hit, not just a few documentaries.
I was going to say Patty Jenkins, but then Patty Jenkins was going to do a Rogue Squadron movie, and that got canceled.
On why Pakistani men are bad. That is the entire argument. Also, from a dude's perspective, Bigelow directed stuff that went boom. That is a big deal for us. Someone else suggested Bryce Dallas Howard, who has movie,
which I would have been completely fine with. Like, I mean, take The Mandalorian for whatever it was. I liked her directing of the episodes.
cred, and even has Star Wars experience with the book.
And obviously, yes, giggity. Look at those eyes.
Of Boba Fett.
And she's a redhead. If they made a Netflix movie about her life, can you guess what color the actress would be? Put in the comments what color you think Bryce Dallas Howard would be. What color the actress would be if in the Netflix adaptation.
And The Mandalorian. And here's an example of just how thin the onion slices are getting. Grand Admiral Boba responded, yes, many women have helped shape Star Wars, including Marcia Lucas, Carrie Fisher, Lee Brackett, and countless others. But Charmin Obaid-Chinoy will be the first woman to direct a Star Wars movie. That's an accomplishment. And she has every right to be proud of it. She isn't dissing them.
It's diminishing it because really what you're saying is, yeah. That's very cute. You guys directed shit on Disney, and this is true, I guess, because even Disney executives say that they just push out whatever they don't have any competence in on Disney Plus. But so she is sort of saying, yeah, it doesn't really count. You guys just directed TV, for lack of a better term. I'm directing an actual movie, even though no one is going to see it. This someone said it. This might be finally Luke's from Star Wars, like the Marvels, where like not even $300 million is made. If I still personally, and I'll say it now, I think this movie's going to be canceled. I think this movie's going to be canceled, or at the very least, Charmin Ultra is going to be replaced.
First of all, saying that her greatest enjoyment comes from making men uncomfortable, and that's a quote. I would call that a diss. Anyway, so Deborah Chow, who directed 6 45-minute episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What a bungling. Probably the worst. Kenobi should have been their most important show. It should have been Ewan and Hayden firing on all cylinders with flashbacks to the Clone Wars and the two of them. And horrible.
He doesn't count? Then Frederick responded to that with, not a movie. That is correct.
Right.
6 shows at about 45 minutes each would have been 2 whole movies. And apparently they cost $15 million per episode. Then Sheev Talks
pretty sure that was the cost of Godzilla -1.
Replied, "You're right. A woman being handed a show sent out to a dying platform is absolutely the same as a woman getting the chance to direct a theatrically released feature film. You're very smart." Ouch. That burned. Dissing the work of Chow just because it was played on Disney Plus.
But, it's almost like they don't actually give a shit about the accomplishments of women, and they're just signaling virtue. A virtue signal, if you will.
Was a cheap shot. And besides, Obi-Wan was originally slated as a movie, but then the Solo disaster happened and the Disney execs changed their minds. They got cold feet. It's not any less of an effort to mount a 6-part effects-laden Dark Wars TV show than doing a movie. I don't know where these people are getting their ideas from, or whether they were, dropped on their head from birth. I should add that Charmin Obaid-Chinoy did direct episodes 4 and 5 of the Miss Marvel.
Are you surprised that a Pakistani Muslim directed Miss Marvel? Of course. It's 2024. It's about time a Pakistani Muslim woman directs Miss Marvel. Oh, that's right. There is no Miss Marvel because it wasn't popular, even though, shout out to Aman Vellani. Very nice person. Exactly how you should answer criticisms in the real world. Everyone should take a PR course from her. And honestly, quite frankly, hearing her talk about the actual character and the lore, and she's actually read comics, put her in charge. Put her in charge. Take her over Kevin Feige.
TV show on Disney Plus starring Kamala Khan. 4, 5, and 6 were the absolute worst episodes of that series, in my opinion. Yes, comments can get spicy here on YouTube, but Charmin is not doing herself any favors by...
Oh, and if you think she's not going to double down once she sees this reaction, look at all these toxic men. Trust me, it's going to get so much worse.
Delivering those tone-deaf quotes. But on the other hand, I'm sure the rainbow Nazis at Disney beamed with delight hearing them from their diversity lottery winner. Don't get mad at us Star Wars fans calling out the obvious. Let me end by saying what I always say: the proof will be in the final product.
If it gets made, I'm calling it now that, yeah, it will not make more. Then okay, right. It's obviously Star Wars, so it definitely won't clear 500,000, right? That's the high end. I'm calling in between 400 million and 500 million.
Just because I don't think she's qualified for the job doesn't mean I don't honestly wish Charmin the best of luck.
No, for sure. Jokes aside, Charmin Ultra jokes aside, Charmin, her actual work of bringing light abuse to Pakistani women in the Muslim world is important. You should be doing that. Go back to making documentaries. Go back, make documentaries about that. Actually important. Don't come in to Star Wars and fucking modern day it and do an allegory about how the Sand People abuse their women and that's why they have to cover them up. Don't or sell them off into marriages. Don't current day us in Star Wars. Stop it. No. Bad Charmin Ultra.
I've never had anything against Daisy Ridley either. I thought she was
Oh yeah, sorry. And I liked Rey. I liked Daisy Ridley in the first movie. I thought, oh great, she'll be Luke's student. And then we got what we got.
luminous in the first Dark Wars movie, but
She wasn't Luke's student, she was Luke's replacement.
it didn't do her any favors. She is a good actress who read the shit that was presented her and performed as per the instructions of incompetent directors. Could Charmin do better than JJ and Ryan? Sure, but that's a very low bar. Till next time, denizens, be seeing you.
Be seeing you, Paul. Thank you. Look at this 15 minutes on a 6-minute video. That's called being transformative. I love Paul. I hope I get to talk or stream with him one day. Thank you, everyone. Please, if you stayed with me, leave a like and a comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If you've liked and subscribed already, thank you. If you're going to, thank you. And we will see you on the next one.